The bullet ripped through my chest like a freight train derailing in the dead of night, and as the world tilted into black, I heard my own voice screaming, not in pain, but in betrayal. "You bastard, why?" My brother's face, twisted in that smug grin I'd trusted for 28 years, was the last thing I saw before the void swallowed me whole. But death? Turns out, it's just the universe's cruelest reset button, spitting me back into my body a year earlier, heart pounding in a hotel room that smelled like cheap coffee and fresh starts, with the calendar screaming September 2024. I bolted upright in that stiff Marriott bed in downtown Chicago, gasping like I'd just surfaced from a drowning. Sweat soaked my tank top, and for a split second, I thought it was all a nightmare, the kind that clings to your skin like humidity after a Midwest storm. But no, the scar from the bullet? Gone. The faint ache in my ribs from where I'd fallen? Vanished. And there, on the nightstand, was my phone, buzzing with a text from Mom. "Eleanor, don't forget to wire the money to Grandma this week. She's counting on it." My name is Eleanor Hayes, and at 28, I'd clawed my way from a Rust Belt trailer park in Gary, Indiana, to a corner office at a fintech startup in the Loop. 6 figures before bonuses, a sleek condo overlooking Lake Michigan, and enough perks to make my high school guidance counselor weep. But success like that? It comes with ghosts. Or in my case, one ghost, Grandma Ruth. She'd raised me after Mom bailed for a better life in Florida with her latest deadbeat. And Dad, well, he was more vapor than father, drifting through odd jobs and barstools. Grandma was the rock, the diner waitress slinging hash browns at 4 a.m. shifts in that greasy spoon-off I-80. Her hands cracked like old leather from scrubbing plates till her knuckles bled. When I started making real money 2 years back, I swore I'd lift her out of it. $3,000 a month, direct deposit, no questions asked. Rent her a little bungalow in Hammond. Stock the fridge with those pre-made lasagnas she pretended not to love. Hell, I even hired a financial advisor to set up an annuity so she'd never touch a mop again. But she kept working. 55 hours a week, she told me in those clipped phone calls, her voice like sandpaper over wire. "Gotta stay busy, Ellie Bear. Idle hands are the devil's workshop." I'd laugh it off, blame the greatest generation stubbornness, but deep down, it gnawed at me. Why? What was she hiding that my money couldn't touch? Now, with the echo of that gunshot still ringing in my skull, bang, courtesy of my brother Tommy's .38 snub nose, I knew it wasn't just curiosity. It was survival. Because in my last life, that investigation, it got me killed. Tommy had followed me from the diner that rainy Tuesday, cornered me in the alley behind Grandma's shift, and pulled the trigger over family business. His words, spit like venom. "You should have stayed out of it, sis." What it was, that's what I died for. And now, with a second shot at breathing, I wasn't asking nicely anymore. I was going to burn it all down. First things first, play it cool. No frantic calls, no showing up on Grandma's doorstep with wild eyes and conspiracy theories. I had a year to unravel this without tipping my hand. So I did what any self-respecting Chicago hustler would. Faked a work trip to Gary, rented a nondescript Ford Focus from Enterprise, and drove out to the old neighborhood under a sky bruised with thunderheads. The steel mills loomed like skeletal giants on the horizon, belching smoke that smelled like regret and rust. Grandma's bungalow was just as I remembered. Sagging porch, petunias wilting in cracked pots, the American flag flapping defiantly from a pole Dad had jury-rigged before vanishing for good. I parked 2 blocks away, slipped on a Cubs cap and oversized shades, paranoia my new best friend, and watched. She emerged at 5:45 a.m., thermos in hand, shuffling to her '98 Civic with the bumper held by duct tape. Off to the diner, same as always. But instead of heading home at 11 p.m., she detoured. To the bank. First National, the one with the flickering ATM sign. She parked in the shadows, glanced over her shoulder like a character in a noir flick, and hustled inside. I couldn't follow without blowing cover, so I waited, engine idling, heart hammering. 20 minutes later, she emerged clutching an envelope. Thick, like it was stuffed with more than statements. She didn't drive home. She went to the bus station. The Gary Intermodal Transfer Center, a concrete armpit of Greyhound fumes and flickering fluorescence, where dreams go to die between layovers to nowhere. Grandma bought a ticket to Indianapolis, one way, cash only. Then she sat on a bench, staring at nothing, until the 7:15 pulled in. She boarded, envelope tucked in her purse like a guilty secret. I tailed her on the next bus, cashing in my cover story about a client meeting. Indy was a 3-hour haul, the flatlands blurring into cornfields that whispered lies about fertile ground. By the time we hit the Circle City, my mind was a storm of what-ifs. Was she running from something? Someone? Or to them? She got off at the downtown terminal, a hive of suits and street preachers, and made for a nondescript motel off Michigan Street. The Starlight Inn, neon sign buzzing like a migraine. Room 212. I checked in across the hall, bribed the clerk with $100 for a master key duplicate. Don't judge. Second chances make you resourceful. Through the peephole, I watched her unpack. Not much, just the envelope and a photo album, the kind with sticky pages yellowing at the edges. That night, as sirens wailed in the distance, I cracked her door, just a sliver, and listened. She was on the phone, voice low and trembling. "Tommy, it's me. The payment's short this month. Ellie's money came through, but after the fees. I need more time." A pause, then a sharp intake. "No, I ain't telling her. You know what that girl'd do. Just give me till Friday." Click. Tommy, my brother. The one who'd paint my nails with drugstore polish when we were kids, who crashed on my couch after his third DUI, who I'd bailed out, literally, with my signing bonus. And now, extorting Grandma? Over what? The pieces started slotting in like a bad puzzle. Grandma's endless shifts weren't pride, they were desperation. My money wasn't lifting her up, it was fueling a black hole. But why? What hole did Tommy have? I needed proof, something ironclad, before I confronted the snake in our family garden. The next morning, I tailed her to a lawyer's office in a strip mall off 86th Street. Bernstein and Associates, the kind of place that handled wills and DUIs, not high-stakes drama. She emerged an hour later, face ashen, clutching fresh papers. I couldn't get close, but a quick Google from a Starbucks later revealed the associate. Miriam Levy, specializing in elder fraud cases. Fraud. The word hit like a sucker punch. Back at the motel, I hacked together a plan. Nothing fancy, just a burner phone and a fake LinkedIn profile as Elena Hart, freelance investigator. Emailed Levy's office posing as a concerned relative, got a call back by noon. "Ms. Hayes, your grandmother's been coming to us for months. She's a victim of financial abuse, classic undue influence. But she won't press charges. Says it's family. Undue influence. The legal term for when a vulture circles a nest egg, whispering sweet nothings till the wool bends. Tommy. It had to be. But Grandma protecting him? That didn't track. Not unless there was more, something rotten at the core, buried deeper than his meth-fueled screw-ups. I pushed Levy gently. Any specifics? Names. She hesitated, bound by confidentiality, but dropped a crumb. It's tied to an old estate matter. Your grandfather's steel mill pension, rerouted through a trust. Someone's siphoning it dry. Grandpa Hayes, dead 15 years from black lung. His union benefits our one shot at stability. I'd always thought Grandma burned through it on bad investments. Her regrets, she'd called them. But now? That night, I broke into her room while she was at a laundromat down the block. Rookie move, maybe, but adrenaline's a hell of a drug. The photo album was open on the bed, faded Polaroids of Grandma young and fierce, arm in arm with Grandpa at a mill picnic. Me as a toddler, chubby-cheeked on her hip, Tommy, gap-toothed and grinning. Then, tucked in the back, a manila envelope. Unsealed. Inside, bank statements, forged signatures, a life insurance policy on Grandpa with Tommy listed as beneficiary, dated after his death. And a letter, handwritten, from Grandma to my dearest Ruthie, herself? No, wait, it was to her younger self, a confessional ramble I covered for him. Tommy's father, your husband, when he cooked the books at the mill. Embezzlement, they called it. Strikes, layoffs, all because of his greed. When the feds came sniffing, I took the fall. Pleaded guilty to accessory, did 2 years in Cook County. Lost the house, the savings. Tommy never knew, but now he's paying the devil's debt, just like his old man. Holy shit. Grandpa wasn't the hero, he was the villain. And Grandma? She'd shouldered the blame to protect the family name. The boy who'd grow up to become my killer. The pension siphon? Tommy's inheritance scam, twisting her sacrifice into his noose. My money was just grease for the wheel. Keeping her quiet, keeping him flush. Rage boiled up, hot and righteous, but I swallowed it. This wasn't just payback, it was excavation. I snapped photos on my phone, resealed the envelope, and slipped out like a shadow. Back in my room, I wired the monthly $3,000 as usual, keep the illusion alive. But now, I had a map. Step 1. Cut off Tommy's supply without alerting him. Step 2. Force Grandma to spill. Step 3. Make the bastard pay. The drive back to Chicago was a blur of semis and spite. I called in sick to work, holed up in my condo with takeout pho and a legal pad of schemes. Controversial? Hell yes. I toyed with going nuclear, anonymous tip to the IRS on the pension fraud, or hacking Tommy's accounts. I had his login from that time he borrowed my laptop. But those were blunt instruments. No, I wanted him to feel it slow, like the noose tightening inch by inch. First move, the diner. I showed up unannounced that Friday, apron in hand. Surprise, Grandma. I'm slinging plates with you tonight. Team effort. Her eyes widened. Shock. Then a flicker of something like relief. But she nodded, tying on my spare apron without a word. The rush was brutal. Truckers barking orders, grease popping like gunfire, the air thick with bacon and unspoken sins. Between dodging elbows, I whispered, "Why, Gram? Why keep sending him money?" She froze mid-pour of coffee, steam curling like ghosts. "Ellie, honey, it's complicated. Blood's thicker than ink on a check." But her hands shook, and by closing time, as we scrubbed counters side by side, the dam cracked. "Your grandpa, he wasn't perfect. Neither am I. Tommy's all I got left of him, mistakes and all." I gripped the sponge till it dripped. "He's bleeding you dry, Gram. And me. For what? A habit that'll kill him anyway." She sighed, deep and weary, and for the first time, she told me everything. The mill scam in '89, how Grandpa skimmed union dues to fund a side hustle that tanked. Her prison stint that stripped her of voting rights and dignity. Tommy discovering the records as a teen, using them to blackmail her into loans that never ended. My money? It was the perfect cover, granddaughter's generosity, no red flags. "And Tommy?" I pressed, voice steel. "He knows I suspect?" She nodded, tears carving tracks in the flour on her cheek. "He called last week. Said if I told you, he'd make sure you regretted it. Like he did with your uncle back in '05. Uncle Ray, Dad's brother, overdosed in a Gary motel. Accident, the cops said. But now, the piece is locked. Tommy wasn't just a junkie, he was a cleaner. Ray had sniffed around the family secrets too close. And in my last life, so had I. That's why the bullet." I hugged her then, fierce and final. "No more, Gram. We're ending this." Her protest died on my shoulder. For the first time in years, she let me drive her home. The weekend blurred into a war room in my condo, laptops glowing like interrogation lamps, takeout containers piling up like evidence stacks. I dove deep, public records, dark web forums, even a shady PI contact from my fintech days who owed me a favor. Tommy Hayes, 32, two-bit hustler with a rap sheet longer than Lakeshore Drive, petty theft, assault, that DUI I'd buried. But the real gold? A shell LLC, Hayes Heritage Holdings, funneling Grandma's pension into crypto wallets and burner accounts. He'd been at it since Grandpa's death, slow dripping her security into his vein. And me? In my last life, I'd stumbled on it by accident, hiring that advisor who'd flagged irregularities, leading to the alleyway ambush. This time, I was proactive. Sunday night, I drafted the email, anonymous, routed through a VPN in Estonia, tipped to the Indiana AG's Elder Abuse Unit. Attached, scans of the forged policy, bank trails, even a timeline linking Tommy to Ray's overdose via motel CCTV I'd pulled from archives. CC'd the feds for good measure, Rico vibes on the fraud angle. Send. Sleep came in fits, haunted by echoes of that gunshot. Monday morning, I called in another sick day, met Grandma at a neutral spot, a Panera in Schererville, far from prying eyes. She looked smaller somehow, hunched over her broccoli cheddar soup like it was a shield. "Ellie, what have you done? Tommy called last night, madder than a wet hen. Said something's coming for us." I slid a folder across the booth. Restraining order paperwork, prepped by a shark attorney I'd retained on retainer, perks of the job. "We're locking him out, Graham. No contact, no access. And if he shows, we press charges." Her face crumpled, love and loathing at war. "He's my boy, Ellie. Flawed as a busted carburetor, but mine. The controversy hit like a gut punch. Family over felony. In America, we Leoneize the prodigal son, forgive the black sheep till they bear fangs. But I died for that forgiveness once. He killed Ray, I said flatly. And he tried for me. Blood may be thick, but it's not blind. She signed the papers with a trembling hand, but her eyes screamed betrayal. Of me, for forcing the choice. Of Tommy, for making it necessary. By Tuesday, the heat was on. My phone lit up with blocked numbers, voicemails from Mom in Florida. What's this about Tommy? Cops at my door. Fix it, Eleanor, you owe us. Owe them. The woman who ditched us for a timeshare salesman, now playing victim? I blocked her too. Work emails piled up. My boss, concerned about the extended leave, but I fired off a vague wellness check, buying time. Then Tommy struck first. A brick through my condo's lobby window at 2 a.m., scrawled with Sharpie, Snoop bitch. Security footage caught him fleeing in a hoodie, but he was gone by dawn. The doorman called it in. I filed the report myself, stone-faced at the precinct. Domestic dispute. I told the detective, a weary vet named Kowalski with a mustache like a broom bristle. He nodded, sympathetic. Family's the worst kind of crime scene, Hayes. But it escalated. Grandma called Thursday, voice a whisper shout. He's here, Ellie. At the house. Says he'll burn it down if I don't recant. My blood iced. I grabbed the keys, floored it to Gary Inn under 30, weaving through construction on the Skyway like a demon on deadline. The bungalow was lit like a Christmas tree gone wrong. Tommy's beater truck in the drive, headlights glaring. I parked a block away, slipped through backyard slick with dew, heart slamming like bass at a South Side club. Peering through the kitchen window, I saw it. Him looming over her, that same twisted grin from my dying flash, a half-empty bottle of Jack in one fist. You think that fancy-ass sister's gonna save you? She's next, Ma. After what she dug up. Grandma backed against the fridge, defiant as ever. She's smarter than you, Tommy. Always was. He laughed, a bark that chilled me. Smart? She's dead curious. Just like Ray. The confession hung there, casual as ordering fries. My hand itched for a phone, 911 on speed dial. But something darker bloomed. Revenge, raw and American, the kind that simmers in trailer parks and boardrooms alike. No cops. Not yet. I needed him to crack wider. I circled to the porch, banged the screen door like thunder. Tommy, get out here, you coward. The door flew open. He filled the frame, reeking of booze and bad choices, eyes bloodshot pinpricks. Well, if it ain't the golden child. Come to play hero. Grandma hovered behind, mouthing run. But I stepped forward, chin up, channeling every TED Talk on confrontation I'd ever skimmed. It's over. The feds have your LLC, the forgeries, raised talk screen, laced with your supplier's fentanyl cut. You're done bleeding us. His face shifted, shocked to snarl in a heartbeat. You think you know shit? Dad was a thief. Ma covered it up. I'm just collecting what's mine. He lunged, bottle swinging wild, but I sidestepped, years of kickboxing classes at the Y paying off. The glass shattered on the rail, shards glittering like accusations. Grandma screamed, "Enough!" and the world tilted into chaos. We grappled, and bigger, meaner, tumbling off the porch into the petunias. Fists flew. I landed a knee to his gut. He clipped my jaw with an elbow that tasted like copper. Bitch, he roared, pinning me, hands like vices on my throat. Stars burst. The alley gunshot echoed in my skull. Not again. Then, crack. A cast-iron skillet connected with his skull, courtesy of Grandma, wild-eyed and wielding it like a broadsword. He slumped off me, groaning, out cold. She dropped the pan, collapsing beside him, sobs racking her frame. My boy. Oh God, what have I done? I crawled to her, pulling her close amid the mud and madness. Sirens wailed distant. Neighbor must have called. You saved us, Graham. Finally, the cops hauled Tommy away in cuffs, mumbling curses and denials. Kowalski took our statements, eyebrow arched at the family saga. Messy, he grunted, but his eyes said respect. Grandma refused the hospital. I drove her to my place instead, the bungalow a crime scene tape-wrapped relic. That night, over chamomile tea on my balcony, city lights twinkling like hesitant stars, she spilled the rest. How Tommy had found Grandpa's hidden ledgers as a teen, confronted her post-prison, turned guilt into a weapon. I thought sending money would fix him, like it fixed me after the joint. Prison. The word hung heavy. I'd never known the full shame, how it had branded her, cost her the vote, the respect. You were innocent, I said, fierce. Accessory? Bullshit. She shook her head. No, Ellie. I knew. Loved him too much to snitch. Same as with Tommy. The twist gutted me. Her complicity wasn't just cover, it was choice. Flawed, human, the kind of gray that makes revenge taste bitter. But it freed her, too, admitting it aloud, under my roof, with Lake Michigan sighing below. Weeks blurred, court dates, therapy sessions, mine mandatory, hers voluntary. The AG's case ballooning into headlines. Gary air busted in elder fraud ring. Tommy flipped on his enablers. Low-level mill ghosts still cashing grandpa's ghosts, trading for a plea. 20 years, minimum. Mom showed up once, all crocodile tears and pleas for bail money. I shut the door with a click that echoed like closure. Work? I quit the startup, launched my own, Eleanor Hayes Financial Security, specializing in elder asset protection. Controversial launch. I went public with our story in a Chicago Tribune op-ed, the family debt we don't talk about. Backlash rolled in. Trolls calling me a fame whore, family values hacks decrying the betrayal narrative. But the calls flooded. Widows, sons, daughters with their own nooses. Grandma? She quit the diner cold. Took up gardening in my spare room. Turned it into a jungle of ferns and figs. Volunteered at a women's prison literacy program. Her voice steady as she read Austen to inmates who looked too much like her younger self. Redemption's a slow burn, Ellie Bear, she'd say, pruning shears snipping like final cuts. 6 months in, the high faded into the grind. Therapy unearthed landmines. My survivor's guilt twisted with rage, manifesting in nightmares where the bullet found its mark anyway. Grandma's too, PTSD from the skillet swing, panic attacks that left her gasping over toast. We'd sit in silence then, two women forged in fire, stitching scars with bad TV and better bourbon. The real controversy brewed in the courtroom, summer 2025. Tommy's trial, State versus Hayes, a spectacle in Lake County Superior, wood-paneled and whisper-quiet till the testimonies dropped. I took the stand first, dressed sharp as a stiletto, voice steady as I recounted the alley, vague on the vision, chalked it to intuition. The brick, the grapple. The DA painted me heroic. The defense? Vindictive gold digger, airing laundry for clicks. Jurors shifted, Midwestern faces, salt-of-earth types who knew kin could cut deepest. Grandma's turn gutted the room. She shuffled up, Bible in hand, old habit, and in that sandpaper voice, laid it bare. The mill scam, her plea deal, the blackmail that chained her to silence. I chose wrong, time and again. For love, mostly. But love ain't a license to steal. Gasps rippled, the judge banged for order. Tommy, orange jumpsuit and hollow-eyed, stared daggers. Hurt more than hate, maybe. Or was that my bleed? His testimony? A train wreck. She's lying. Ma always favored Ellie, the princess with the degree. I was scrapping by, and she sends her money? It's inheritance, man, mine by blood. The fraud? Creative accounting. Ray's death? Tragic coincidence. But the evidence mounted. Wire transfers time-stamped to his dealer drops. Ray's veins laced with Tommy's signature cut. The jury deliberated 2 days, deliberate, like weighing a soul. Guilty on all counts. Fraud, extortion, manslaughter. Sentencing hit like a verdict on us all. 25 to life, eligible in 15. Grandma wept in the gallery, not for joy, but loss, the boy she'd lost twice. I held her as flashbulbs popped, reporters shouting, Ms. Hayes, any regrets? Regrets? A truckload. But as we pushed through the scrum to my waiting Uber, I whispered, we survived. She squeezed my hand. More than that, kid. We lived. The twist came quiet, post-trial. Over Labor Day barbecue on my balcony, ribs from a smoker truck, coleslaw tart as truth. Grandma handed me a letter, yellowed and sealed. Grandpa's suicide note, dated the day before his heart attack. Ruthie, I can't face the men I ruined. The books are hidden in the mill shed. Burn him. Forgive me. Love your thief. She'd never burned them. Tommy had. Fuel for his fire. Why now? I asked, unfolding the fragile script. Because you're ready, she said, cracking a beer. And I'm done carrying. We burned it together that night. Safely, in a fire pit by the lake. Ashes scattering on the wind like absolved sins. No more secrets. Just us, two hazes against the horizon. Life pivoted after. My firm boomed. Clients from Seattle to Savannah, a TEDx talk on the cost of family loyalty that went viral, sparking debates on Fox and MSNBC. Hero or homewrecker? I leaned into the fray, podcast appearances where I argued the American dream's dark underbelly. How we pedestalize blood ties till they strangle us. Critics called it anti-family propaganda. Fans mailed thank yous from abuse survivors. Controversial? Damn right. Tense. Every panel a tightrope. But it felt like breathing fire, not choking on smoke. Grandma? She thrived in the weirdest way. Started a support group, Ruth's Rebels, for elder fraud victims, meeting in church basements from Gary to Joliet. Her diner stories became parables. That time the trucker stiffed the tip taught me more about trust than any banker's suit. She even voted again, provisional, after expungement hearings I lawyered pro bono. First ballot, Local Mill Revitalization Act, honoring the ghosts without glorifying thieves. Me? I dated, cautiously, a barista named Jax with tattoos like road maps and a laugh that thawed my edges. No rings yet, but weekends hiking the dunes, his hand in mine, felt like terra firma after quicksand. And work? Expanded to a nonprofit arm, Hayes Safeguard, auditing family trusts for red flags. Tommy wrote once, from Wabash Valley, apologizing in chicken scratch, didn't mean to be him. Fix what I broke, sis. I didn't reply. Forgiveness? Maybe in time. But trust? That's a longer haul. 1 year post-Trung. Post-reset. The anniversary hit soft. September 2025, hotel room ghosts banished by a king bed in my own place. I woke to Grandma's pancakes, blueberry bursts in the batter, her humming Sinatra off-key. What's the plan, boss? She asked, flipping with flair. World domination. I quipped, but meant it smaller. A walk by the lake, maybe call Jax for dinner. No bullets, no bricks, just forward motion. As we strolled Navy Pier that afternoon, tourists milling like colorful chaos, she stopped by the Ferris wheel, eyes on the skyline. Ellie, you ever think, what if I told you sooner? The question hung, heavy as humidity. In my last life, she hadn't, couldn't, and it ended in blood. This time, we'd rewritten the script, line by bloody line. Doesn't matter, I said, linking arms. We got here. She nodded, wise as waves. Damn right. Now, buy your old lady a corn dog. Laughter bubbled up, free and fierce, the sound of survival, American as apple pie with a side of spite. Betrayal had cracked us open, but revenge? It sealed the fissures with gold, kintsugi for the soul. Tommy rotted, secrets ashes, and we rose. Not perfect, not painless, but unbroken. In the end, the real hook wasn't the death or the bullet. It was the rebirth, not just mine, but hers. We'd both died a little in that Gary bungalow, shedding skins of silence and shame. And on the other side, a life where $3,000 a month bought more than survival. It bought the truth. And damn, was it worth every cent.